Hi, Doug White from Model Car Muse. I just finished building the red Penske L88 Corvette. You can hear all about it in the video we recently posted. Time for a new project. Here are 5 things I do before getting started. The first thing I do is clear the bench. I want to get everything from my completed build archived and put away. So I start with all the small stuff. I've got the decals, they go into a folder. I've got all my small parts, they go into small plastic bags, and then into one big labeled bag, and that all gets put in the folder, then in the filing cabinet. Now that I have the bench clear, it's time for bench maintenance. This is a good time to replenish your supplies. Go get whatever you need that you used up on the build. Paint, number 11 blades, fresh glue. It's also a good time to replace light bulbs or just fix that sticking drawer. One thing I did was replace this enormous heavy piece of granite that I use as a surface plate. It's great to work on, but there's a lot of glare, and it's also really hard to photograph. It's just too reflective. I'll use a piece of glass or this whenever I need it as a surface plate, but I'm going to work on, I'm going to work on this black rubber mat. This stuff is flooring that's used in ice skating rink locker rooms. It's really nice because it's dark, doesn't reflect a lot back into the eyes. I can see the parts I'm working on really well. I prefer this over the green mats with the grid because I'm not staring at green all day and the cones of my eyes aren't getting kind of confused on a lot of the colors. Nice and neutral. I also set up a second work area. You usually see me sitting here. I'll be here as well as over here. This is great for photography, and now I have 2 different bays that I can be working at on 2 different projects. When I build, I like having a work area and a staging area. For a staging area, I use this tray where parts and assemblies can safely wait until needed. Keeps me organized and keeps me from losing things. Early on, I built a lot of my well-known models in a communal space. I was living and working in my studio in Manhattan, where I had to clean up at the end of the day and then restart the next time I wanted to build. So I kept each project in its own dedicated box. So if you don't have a dedicated space, keeping parts together in a tray, bin, or a box keeps everything organized. This is the second thing to consider. It's important to have a commitment to the project. The more the project means to you, especially on a personal level, the better chance you'll have in finishing it. You'll be able to weather the setbacks without losing interest and add personal touches. My next project is, my goal is to build a replica of a 47 Willys CJ2A as it came out of the factory in Toledo in 1947. My connection to this is I'm the steward of a 47 Willys CJ2A that was on my great-grandfather's farm in Pennsylvania. I've known this car my entire life, and this is a build I've been planning for years. The third thing I do before starting a project is research. If you're doing a replica, research is essential for accuracy. And if you're not doing a replica, it still helps to know what path you're going down. Doing that research can help steer you possibly in a different direction. It could certainly influence the color of your model. You may discover something along the way. Even when doing something box stock, I look at pictures of the real car. It can certainly help you understand the proper stance of the vehicle. Types of engines, the roof line, wheels and tires, the way the chrome is set, details. I've compiled this research over years knowing I want to do this project, so I have a better understanding of what the civilian Jeeps were for the first 4 years of production. There were constant running changes. And even though these ads are illustrations, it's interesting because early on there were tool indents left over from the military Jeeps, which went away, and it was just a smooth panel. All of the Willys Jeeps had a side gas cap. In this illustration, it's missing. What you're going to find isn't always accurate. This research will help me set the wiring. I can even get the firing order correct. Number 4, now that I've done the research, it's time to gather the materials. I need to give a quick look at the base kit. What paint do I need? Do I need photo etch parts? Do I need to go find decals or have them made? For this Jeep project, I'm starting with the second iteration of the MPC Hogan's Heroes Jeep. The second and third iteration gives you more options of civilian parts that the original kit didn't have. I considered using the Italeri version. It's a great kit, but it's just way too early of a version of a Jeep to convert into a civilian Jeep. I'm going to have to make modifications to many of the parts in these kits. I'm going to take away tool indents because they weren't proper for a 1947. For a civilian Jeep, I'm going to have to add the gas cap filler indent in the side. The gas cap is not in the kit, so I'll have to fabricate that one. That's going to be fun. Now, these kits, all three iterations, came with these Goodyear Suburbanites. Whether you're doing the military version or the civilian version, they really don't cut it. So years ago at the NL East, I picked up a couple sets of proper tires and I'm going to adapt those. I'm also going to create some wheels because I'm not happy with the wheels that come in the kit. They're not super accurate for a civilian model. They're more like for a later model CJ5. So I'll be working on those as we go. Okay, I've been saving up parts for years, working on other projects as I go along. I'll find something, I'll go, yeah, that's perfect for the Jeep project, like I do with a lot of other projects. I found this mirror. I think it's great for a side view mirror that goes on the driver's side on the outside. I also have for an original issue, Hogan's Heroes Jeep tailgate. It's super crisp. I really like it. So I've been hanging on to that. I also want to take both front and rear differential plates are a little soft in detail. Been hanging on to this Dana cover for a long time. I'm going to make a mold, duplicate that, so I can add that to both the front and the rear differentials. Lastly, I think about sequencing. What assemblies come before others, so I can work without losing momentum. Let's say you're doing a gasser and you want to get the frame and the body together, get the engine in, so you know where to cut the hole in the hood for the supercharger that's going to stick out. On this build, I know I can be working on the engine and the chassis at the same time and maybe getting some body work going. I avoid deadlines. We're here to build. Takes as long as it takes to get things right. The important thing is to have fun. Okay, so I'm highly optimistic that I can assemble this rather than assembling it unpainted, disassembling it and painting it. I'm going to go for it. I'm just going to assemble and paint as I go. All 5 of these things are good to consider. These considerations will help keep me focused. I hope this was helpful to you in starting your new project. Or you can just ignore all of this and just dive in. I'm ready to start this Jeep project. Technically, I've already started. I have the 2 halves of the block glued together. You'll all get to see it when it's finished. We'll do another video when the model is done, talking about how the build went and some special techniques I'll use. Please consider becoming a patron of Model Car Muse. As a special thank you for their support, patrons on our Patreon page can see weekly posts of the build in progress. The link to the page is in the description. Go check it out. Subscribe here on YouTube so you don't miss any of our videos. Follow your muse wherever you may find it, and may there always be a project on your bench. Thanks for watching.